everyone. I'm here with Danny Hertzberg from Miami. Danny's a good friend. I'm going to give a shout out. So Danny's part of the Jills-Zeder team in Miami, constantly ranked #1 team in Miami and Dade County, as well as ranked by the Wall Street Journal as one of the top teams, real estate teams in America. Danny's been honored and named as Forbes 30 under 30. That was a little while ago, right? Because recently, Danny, you were recently named 40 under 40 by South Florida Business Journal. All right, so a little time, right?
Thank you. Very kind.
Not to mention, Danny, you're cutting edge in terms of your marketing, your social media, and your business and your view on things. And you're one of the smartest and nicest guys in our industry. So
I really appreciate that, Steve. Mutual respect and admiration. Thanks for having me today.
Great. So let's do this. I wanted to talk about, we can get into, we'll get into business and what we're doing, but I want to compare, obviously, the Miami market, New York market we see, and we've referred and have clients back and forth. There are two markets that, a lot of New Yorkers have second homes in Florida, second, third homes. But what's different now? Talk to me about personally, business, quarantine,
Sure.
and what's going on.
So just like everybody out there, it's a whole new world that we're all adjusting to. Different places have been impacted in different ways. I think, Miami was not hit as hard as New York City, certainly, but we've had some serious challenges here in the state of Florida. Miami-Dade and Broward County had the largest number percentage-wise of cases, and we've been under the strictest lockdown. We've been, sheltering at home, staying home pretty much in lockdown, but we are trying to work through this situation best we can. So we've been doing a lot of virtual. We have been putting some deals together. First, it was kind of land deals where people didn't have to actually go out to the properties.
Right.
Or go and make a video or walk the lot with people. And then now they're starting to be more and more actual, property transactions where, we're opening up the property, letting people mask, gloves, like all of that. And it's just a transition, getting used to this new climate and new environment. But the markets are so close. I mean, Steve, we're chatting all the time back and forth because even pre-COVID, so many people from New York were coming to Miami and vice versa. And right now, I would say almost 50% of the leases that we're doing on Miami Beach are from New York-based people who are leaving the city and renting.
So you're definitely seeing that uptick of people that want to have a place to go, maybe not jumping into purchase, but renting. So a lot of what you're doing now, in addition, I know you do a lot of sales, obviously, but you're doing rentals at this time.
Yeah, I'm doing more leases than I've had in the last 5 years, probably, than in the last 2 months as much as in the last 5 years. Just a very high volume.
They run the gamut from apartments to full-blown homes?
No, so far they've been all homes, because the challenge with the condos and the apartments is most of those properties, they won't allow access. We can't show, we're not approving new people. So it's been mostly single family side, and people especially that are coming from New York that maybe have been cooped up in an apartment, they want a pool, they want a yard, they want to be in a house. But going forward, as the buildings open up, I think we'll see more leases in the condos as well.
Yeah, no, obviously New York, we're a vertical city. Most of everything we do, unless it's a townhouse or a very small apartment building, we don't have access. As you said, we're on the strictest of lockdown. And we, 2 months ago, came out. We're fortunate to have our home in the Hamptons. So yeah, especially with the kids, 2 little girls, to have a backyard to run in, or 3 floors when I've got my 9-year-old in school and we're trying to carve out places for office space. Do you work from home? Do you have an office at home usually?
Usually I was kind of using the space, but mostly I was working from my car or on the go.
Right.
now this has really become my, like, home office, where I got a giant monitor, behind this,
Right.
and fully set up here. I'm even using a landline. So it's kind of, but there's challenging. I don't have doors on the office. So every now and then I have a great distraction. Our daughter comes walking through, and maybe she'll show up, but I think she's not.
Yeah, that goes with just the heads up. Yeah, we might have kids running through, right?
So it's everybody's working virtually across the country, and I think that it's kind of a new normal. And you can be efficient in many ways, as far as, like, we're working on long-term projects right now, looking at our marketing, our branding, all the campaigns for our individual listings when things normalize to relaunch. Working on the website, working on logos, just all the stuff that you sometimes don't have time to do.
Yeah, that's
going
right.
back to the database, this is the time to do it. But at the same time, you're incredibly busy and we're incredibly busy. Now I kind of joke, we've never worked so hard for so little money in our careers, and we're all doing the same, but at least we're busy. So a lot of it is every deal that we've closed since, the outbreak, since the lockdown, has taken 10, if not 20 times the effort of a regular transaction.
And those you're doing virtual. Well, you're different there, but they're virtual closings.
Yeah, the closings are in the very beginning.
Yeah.
They weren't doing the virtual notaries. It wasn't virtual, but it was one person went in, brought their own pen. They met outside at a picnic table at a park to sign the closing documents. But now it's crazy. Yeah, the recent closings we had are completely virtual if they're cash. If they're financing, there are a few documents that they actually have to sign, but they take a tremendous amount of work. I mean, negotiating access for an inspector, figuring out, how we're going to do a walkthrough when the buyer can't fly back to do the walkthrough here.
Right.
All the different stuff. And we work through it. You have a friend or family go, you do a virtual tour, you have a video. There's ways to do all these different things.
Let me ask you, these are all contracts that were signed prior to COVID, to the last 2 months, correct?
During.
Actually signed during, okay. And what percentage of, let me ask you, what percentage of contracts that were signed prior renegotiated on pricing, if any?
So the pre-COVID contracts, I would say we closed about 70% of those.
Okay.
Of that group that closed, maybe 25% were renegotiated. The other 75% were already hard deals, and the buyers actually wanted to get into the properties. So, right. But yeah, we've had a few that have been renegotiated, either if they're not hard deals during inspection periods, it has happened. Just because, other opportunities were coming up or people were uncomfortable closing. But since the lockdown, we've put properties in contract and are having those closings now. So there's a pool of buyers that are looking, and the buyers that are writing offers are getting the best opportunities. Most people are afraid.
Afraid to put an offer. So putting in low, I'm sure some people are throwing in low ball offers.
They are, but they're getting rejected, and it's very hard to get them counters. I'm dealing with that today, actually. So there's a floor to our market, particularly in the most sought after areas that we're seeing throughout in Coral Gables and Miami Beach. So if a property is discounted to a certain number, there's multiple buyers that are willing to step up and purchase. And if the offer is way out of context, the seller's not dealing and not countering. So there's good value in the market, but not quite as much as many buyers may perceive. So
yeah, I think Danny, for us in New York, and I'm sure it's going to be same for you, that similar to, and we were going through this together. I remember when we had a meeting, we were talking to all of our sellers about how you told me you had like 35 sellers. You ticked them down and went and had a discussion with them. They got to bring their pricing down. Similarly, when we had that hold off, and for the 2 years prior to all I've been talking about, the meeting of the minds where sellers and buyers had to come together on pricing. Yeah. I think we may have that again, where buyers are expecting, now I can go grab the world. Right. And sellers are saying, not so fast. We're going through that similarly right now.
True. And it's a shift. Yeah. It's a shifting market, and every price point there's a different environment in every product type. So single family is different than, land, and land is different than condo.
Right.
And the $2 million bracket is very different than the $10 million bracket. So, just because people are seeing headlines that, home values are up, down, sideways, it's really like micro market. And you have to know that inventory, or work with an expert, and, in your market, our market, to know where the market is. And a lot of the inventory has gone down. I think the latest report from the National Association of Realtors came out that inventory is down 20% from this time.
Yeah.
And new listings are down almost 40%. I think it was 37%.
Yeah.
So the inventory is down. The buying pool maybe has pulled back and gone into pause mode. But I think there will be some demand that's been on the sideline that's going to step back in as things open up. So Miami-Dade County is supposed to open on May 18th. And we're preparing towards that date. Not all the cities within Dade County are going to be prepared to open at the same time.
Right.
And it's going to be, it's going to be complicated in some ways, but if things will gradually open up and more people start coming out.
All right. So I want to get to that in a moment, the opening up. But so we're going to have questions coming in.
Sure.
So hi, Warren Amler from South Africa. Hey, Warren. But here's a question. So of those buyers that have put in offers, have any of them done with actually seeing the property? I get land, that's different, but an actual physical property home.
So they have made offers, but I have not seen a deal put together, sight unseen, for an actual livable home. Now people have made offers, seeing if they'll take their number, and then they want to come see the property, right, during due diligence. But we've done sight unseen leases. We just did a $20,000 lease per month, sight unseen, another one at $25,000. So there are rentals happening, and these are 12-month leases, not short term. So it's $2,000. But on the purchases, I think that there's a limitation to technology. And even after all the hype about, iBuyer and virtual tours and all that, people want to walk a property, they want to feel the property, they want to walk the neighborhood. So I do still think people want to see the properties in person. And that's what we're dealing with, trying to figure out, but they're window shopping less. People aren't going out just to play HGTV and see homes and homes, right? So they're narrowing down their options, and then they're actually wanting to see the properties to purchase. That's been my experience. How about with you, Steve?
Yeah, that very similar. That, first of all, obviously there's far fewer people that are contacting us, but the ones that do are real. The ones that we've received offers that we've got them into, during this period, have all been people that saw the property, or in one case, we have a contract out right now. They live in the building. They know the building well. They're trading up to a larger apartment. We actually were very fortunate because we had a great video that we had done. So we were able to send that. And so they know it well enough. Wow. The rentals that you did, the $20,000 a month, that's based on video or a virtual tour?
Yeah, so it was a combination. We had really good pictures. We had the Matterport, so you could walk through every room, the 3D overview. Yep. We had a video, and the video we shot wasn't the typical, real estate video. We did it more as, we had a professional videographer shoot it, but shoot it as if you're walking through the home. So it wasn't just kind of like the glossy pull away picture, very detailed, crisp HD, but as if you're walking through it. And they did a FaceTime, and they leased the property. And you jogged my memory. We do have a condo deal that may happen, similar situation. The buyer saw another unit on a higher floor. They're not flying into town. They don't feel comfortable flying right now. And they sent their agent to preview, and they're going to buy it based off the fact that they saw another unit. They saw the pictures, the video, their agent did a FaceTime for them. So I think we'll start seeing a little bit of that, maybe more on the condo side. On the single family side, I'm not so sure. I think at the end of the day, before anybody closes, they're going to want to walk through room by room, floor by floor. Yeah.
And I also think that, and you'll tell me what price point, but as you said, the 2 million and below, we're seeing there's a lot of people peppering and starting to look at things, and, mortgage rates are certainly good. And as compared to the more luxury higher end, I don't know that anyone's going to buy that just by a virtual tour or,
Right. I agree. I think they're going to want to walk the properties, and the exception, like we said, is either land or knockdowns, because we've had put some big deals together where it's a parcel of land and they don't need to see it. So we'll see that market to keep moving. But at the end of the day, I think people want to walk and feel the property.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? It comes back to as much technology, and you've been at the forefront of this, using technology, social media for all this. It still comes down to we're humans and we have to feel.
Yeah.
I think I've certainly experienced that. What I feel is missing and what people are craving is human. We're social beings, social animals.
Now more than ever. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Tell me though, what tools have you used prior that you're seeing, wow, this is really working now, and you could see we're going to use it now. The good will come from this, but maybe
Right.
some business tools or things
Sure.
that you're doing that you think will take into the new world.
So as far as a marketing tool, I mean, we were heavily using Instagram before, particularly the story feature, but now it's like 10 times more relevant.
Yeah.
The number of eyeballs on social media now, it's incredible.
Sure.
And groups that never checked out social media are now, using TikTok. I mean,
That's so true. Yes.
people are really, really connecting and looking into it. And they're not just, some people are just browsing to be entertained, but people are starting to do their research through social media. They're looking at, I don't know, the mattress they want to buy. They're looking at the post on social media. They're looking at the agent they want to work with, or the property they want to buy, or, the food they're going to prepare. It's through social media. It's through YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. But the story feature has been driving a lot of traffic, and we've been using old virtual tours to repost them and get them out there to give people an opportunity, which it seems that most buyers are responding more to just the raw, like holding up the phone, walking through each room, those kind of clips,
Yeah.
more so than the professional videos, because they don't want edited content. They want raw, real, direct. And that's been pretty powerful. I'd say another tool is, we're on Zoom right now, and we do our Jills-Zeder group team meetings every day through Teams on Microsoft. And we use Zoom as well, but this virtual meetings, virtual listing presentations, virtual tours are critical, and using them in a proper function of screen sharing and, creating a waiting room to make sure you don't have unwanted people, or in a family meeting, because we have a big family and we have a lot of opinions, learning how to mute people when you need to mute people and mute yourself and all of that. And it's a learning curve, and it's a changing world. Like, I have clients now that used to say, don't email me, don't text me, I only want a phone call. And now they're doing Zoom meetings. So
incredible desperation. My 85-year-old mother, sorry, Mom, I'm not supposed to say her age. She looks great for her age. But she's still, I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I have a Zoom call with my friend.
incredible.
You can't freaking send me a photo, text me a photo, and you're Zooming? Like, what? It's unbelievable.
It's moving all these tools forward, things that were being used. Like, we've been doing, paperless transactions for a long time, and I'm sure you have too. But now it's like, we would, do some digital signing, and then we'd receive back a PDF signed, or a picture of it. But everybody is embracing more and more digital side of the transaction, the virtual tour. So when we come out of this, or when things improve to a degree where we feel like we're coming out of this, I think the tools will stay. I think people will start doing more and more virtual meetings. I think conferences will be more like this. Fewer and fewer people are going to travel in order to do face-to-face, which is sad in some ways, but more efficient in other ways.
Yeah.
One thing that's come out of this crisis that's a silver lining, and there's a lot of silver linings, is that people are sharing so openly. Like right now, we're sharing, and I see a lot of the names. Some are clients, some are agents. These things are going on every week. I mean, you've been so gracious, Steve, sharing with people how you're marketing, how you're doing deals. And that was happening, the two of us might have been doing it before on an occasional panel, but on a weekly basis for the whole industry to be opening up and saying, hey, this is what's working for me, let me share it with you to help each other, is a pretty special, unique thing. And that's a silver lining of the current environment.
There's no, I thought about that when I was preparing for our talk today. And I thought about well, we've been on panels before. We've done this before. That's not new. And I was going through, I always see your Instagram, but I thought, no, but we're all doing it. I mean, God, we now being asked to be on panels, and if it's 3, 4, 5 times a week rather than, once or twice a month,
Right.
or we're at an event. And I'll tell you something early on, that within the first 2 weeks, the owners or CEOs of all the major firms in New York City all got on and did a Zoom call. And I thought that was most powerful. We're competitors, but we're in this together, and we got to get through it together. So I knew someone would ask me this, but are you on TikTok?
You know what? We just created a Jills-Zeder group TikTok account.
Okay.
I've been watching but not participating. I've been seeing all the dance moves. I'm still trying to figure out, how it's going to really become relevant in our real estate world. But there will be, funny things that draw attention that somehow showcase the property.
Yeah.
And look, the kids are the first movers, right? Like, it was the young kids who were the first on Instagram, and then everybody jumped on it. I remember when I first started real estate 10 years ago, an agent said something, kind of condescending statement to myself. I was very into social media and digital marketing. And they were like, you kids are playing on Facebook, like you should actually be doing real work in the real world. And then we closed like a $14 million deal off a tweet. And that was kind of an aha moment of, it's okay. And now I'm not that kid anymore, right? It's 10 years later. I'm approaching 40. 30 under 30 is way gone. But I do realize that the first movers are usually, 13 and 14-year-olds, and then it gets adapted and changes. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be the future, but you see all the TikTok videos on Instagram. They're showing up on Facebook. People are sharing text, and there's millions of people on it, particularly in Asia. I mean, it's coming out of China. If that's a big market, we have to figure out a way to do it. So we've created an account, but I have yet to do a post, and I'll share with you when we do. How about yourself?
Similar. Yeah.
Okay.
To do it. My 9-year-old, I think she cringes. She's excited, and then she's like, please go away. So this, if it wasn't, I'm older than you, but if it wasn't for Serene, who's our marketing, handles our marketing and PR, for constantly pushing me forward to do things, I'd never, like that guy who said to you 10 years ago, what are you doing? And now, but if you're not, I said a number of years ago, once I finally bought in, with video and all this, if you're not doing it, you're going to get left behind. I mean, this is today. This is what people have to do. And it's not just vanity. My God, as you just said, all these tools are what's getting us through.
Definitely.
It makes such a difference. All right. So I have a question. What's it like driving a team in all this madness? How do you keep, all right, I'm going to add to this. So how do you keep each other motivated? And then I'll add to that, how do you personally stay grounded and motivated during all this?
So the motivation part is tough, right? And a couple things that I do and we do. When we had our very first teams meeting, when my mom and a few of our team members were a little hesitant to get on a virtual meeting, but they did it.
Everyone knows, of course, you're in business with the 2 Jills, right?
Right.
Now, newly to is that our family?
Our partner Judy-Zeder, right. And then Lieber's sister Felice, Judy's son and daughter Nathan and Kara, my sister Hillary, and Felice. So it's it's a full family.
A family affair.
3 families, and we make it work. We really make it work. But so we had our first virtual meeting, right? Everybody wanted to have a conference call. This was the first day after we were very early, like before Miami shut down. As a team and a family, we decided we want our team to work from home. So all of our, our salaried team and all of us decided we're working remotely. Let's have our first conference call. Let's make it a video call. And from the first call on the agenda, the first item I put on the agenda was, before we start anything, everybody has to share something positive for a minute. I don't care if it's personal, that you just did 20 push-ups, or that you closed the deal, but everybody went around and shared something positive very quickly. And we've done that for every single meeting since, and it's been months. And even though,
how often are you meeting?
we're meeting 3 times a week virtually. And then we have probably, we have multiple calls all day, every day.
Oh yeah, of course. So
So
we do similar. We have a smaller team. There's 5 of us total. And we do a morning call every, Monday through Friday, a 9 a.m. call, a Zoom call. And similar, we call it inspiration. Every person has their day. And, today it can be, as deep as, I was posting stuff initially about that what if poem about, what's the deeper, really deep meaning of this? If we just take economy and all that aside, what's the real silver linings we can get from this? To, someone will just share a hilarious comedian or some ridiculous clip just because it made them smile. So yeah, it's
very
so
similar. Yeah, it's
so go on. So that's the inspiration and the connection. How do you motivate, and then how do you stay grounded and motivated, you personally?
So the motivation, a couple things. I mean, there's a poem. If anybody wants to send me a direct message on Instagram, I'll share it with them. But it's a Zen Buddhist text, and basically it's about loving what you do and doing what you love. And I think that keeps you very motivated. The other thing, and I always talk about, is the book sums it up perfectly. The Miracle Morning, like that book about the way you start your day sets the tone for the rest of the day. So when you start the day off and you slept in, you snooze, you didn't eat breakfast, you're kind of dragging your feet through the day, everything's difficult. Yeah. But the other days, which I've been starting every single day, is you get up early, you work out first thing in the morning, you eat a good breakfast, you can take on the world. And I think that the tone you set first thing in the morning, that routine can take you through the whole day. So that's something powerful for me. It helps.
I've heard that. I know that book well, and not every morning, but I really try to have a really solid morning routine. It makes all the difference. I've heard 2 things. Gino Buffari, who's part of Berkshire Hathaway, said, I'll never forget this. He said, when you wake up in the morning, you got to get the cobwebs out of your head right away. Because I know sometimes you can roll over and just let,
Of course.
But the Miracle Morning, the idea that if you have a good morning routine, it's like a rudder on a boat. And then if you set that rudder in a certain way, even if you're hit and knocked to the side, as we are every day with different fires or things we have to deal with, you'll get back on course. Right. So I love that. That's excellent.
So that's one piece, is starting with the right routine. And then the second is, I'll give credit to my mom, even though it was a Mark Twain quote, which is basically the quote about, eat the frog. And she says it all the time, and she lives by it. And the idea is, if you had to do something as disgusting as eating a live frog, you better do it first thing in the morning, or you'll spend the whole day stressing about having to eat the frog. So I always think that in my mind, the hardest thing you have to do, you do first thing in the morning, and the rest of the day is easy. So that's kind of my motivation core. I practice yoga, I meditate. It keeps me like in the right headspace and super focused and in good health. But as far as staying grounded, I think that living and thinking about what you're grateful for, and that's part of like a Miracle Morning routine, really grounds you. To know that, it's difficult. We can't do what we're doing. We've been, making all food at home. We have a baby on the way. I mean, there are things you could stress yourself out a lot, and everybody has different challenges, but thinking about what you're grateful for, I think really grounds you every day. And just knowing that, we're in a family business with our team, and that it's a business that our mom started, and she started with her partners, and kind of that gives me, I don't know, a lot of gratitude and sets the tone. But I think thinking about every day, if you start your day and you end your day with gratitude, what you're grateful for, you're grounded. And then just being humble that you don't have all the answers and nobody does, and do the best you can every day keeps you on the right path.
I love that. See, I knew I liked you immediately when I met you. You remember where we met?
When we first met, I don't remember. It's been so many years, Steve.
So we met in San Francisco. It was part of ILA, International Luxury Alliance, which is a group of select brokers from some of the top markets. And the first time we were at a dinner, and they did an icebreaker. You'll remember now. And we had to say our local favorite restaurant.
I remember the bagel spot.
Yeah, right. Barney Greengrass was mine. I think yours might have been like Joe's Stone.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I've yet to get you that bagel. So
that was a great. Yeah, we're due for it.
All lifts. What's that?
As soon as we can get back to the city, let's do it.
Yeah. Perfect. So all right. So let me take a look. There were a few other things I wanted to touch on. I know that you're involved. Just talk a little bit for a moment. Go back to, you see Miami's coming out of this May 18th, right? And you're involved. Tell me how you're involved with that.
Well, for the last 6 years, I've served I was appointed by the mayor to the Visitor Convention Authority for the City of Miami Beach. It's called the VCA Board. And I was the vice chair for the last 2 years. So for 6 years, what we worked on was there's a hotel tax, a small tax that generates from all the hotels every room night a few $1 million. And then we allocate grants to help grow the destination. So grants for Art Basel and Food and Wine and all these different great events that drive people here, more heads and beds, creates more revenue. And it's been a wonderful, opportunity for me and to give back to the city. But more recently, I was asked to serve on the advisory board for the City of Miami Beach for the reopening. And there's 3 subcommittees. There's hotel, restaurant, and then retail and general business. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the advisory committee for retail and general business. And basically what we're doing is the Dade County has certain requirements on the different phases of opening. What percent people can be in a store, what kind of stores and restaurants can open first, what are the sanitizing requirements, social distancing, all that. So the county sets the baseline, and then each city like Coral Gables, Miami Beach, Aventura, Pinecrest, they can set their own kind of standards on top of that to make it more strict, not less. So we're trying to figure out for our unique destination, which is Miami Beach, what is the best way to create a safe environment for the reopening, targeting May 18th, if we hit certain thresholds as a county. So, it's been interesting. It's indirectly tied to real estate, but it's really our community, and it's with a lot of the owners of hotels and restaurants and stores. And people are really hurting out there. It's humbling to hear the stories. People that had to let go of employees that can't pay the bills and can't keep the ship running. And it's going to be very challenging, but it is nice at the same time to see so many members of the community. I mean, we're meeting every day. As soon as we get off this call at 3, I'm getting on a virtual meeting with my subcommittee. And a ton of people in the community are giving their time and energy to try to, help get back to normal in the reopening. And I think this is happening all over the country. So it's going to be an adjustment, just like within real estate, we're trying to figure out how we do things. So are stores, so are restaurants, so are hotels. And it's going to take a lot of, common good kind of energy and hard work and rolling up our sleeves to get through this and get this done. But everybody working together, I have a lot of confidence in our city, our county, our state, our country, but nobody has all the answers. And that kind of goes back to even our industry. How are we supposed to do things? What's the proper way? What's the acceptable level of risk? How do we make sure that our employees and our customers and ourselves are safe in staying in this business? But at the same time, there's a reason that it was, I think it's the Department of Homeland Security declared real estate an essential business by the federal government.
Yeah.
And people need a place to live. We can't just stop housing. If their lease ends, somebody needs to be able to rent a new place or they're going to be homeless. And if they have to sell for financial reasons, they have to be able to find another place. So I think it should motivate both of us, I know it does, and everybody on this call that's in the business, that the work we do is critical. We're not front lines. We're not nurses and doctors. They're heroes. But we're doing something really important, is finding housing for people in a challenging time. And we're navigating every which way we can. And, I take a lot of pride in that, and I know you do too. And at the end, the core of what we do is helping people. And this is a reminder of that right now.
Yeah, well, it's shelter. There's no question. And you're right there. I did a call last week with a leader in our community, Joy Levitt, who leads our local JCC in Manhattan, which is a huge community center. And she said, when we talked about silver lining, she said she sees it more as two truths. And you touched on this, that, we're fortunate. We have beautiful homes and family and business that, God willing, will thrive and we'll move forward. We'll figure out how. But then there are others that are really suffering right now. And so there are two truths to this. But I think you're right. If we all come together in that human spirit in Florida, in Miami, in Florida, in New York State, and then the country, and then the world, we'll get to the other side of this.
Definitely.
So, yeah. All right. Okay. So I'm going to wrap so you can prep for your next call. Danny, this was wonderful. Thank you. I always love talking to you. Thank you. I want to just remind everyone that on Friday, May 15th at 2:00, Tim will be speaking with Countess Luann of the Real Housewives of New York. Tune in, Danny. And thank you, everyone, for listening and tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.